I'm just going to hit this right away because you're ready. I'm ready. We're ready.
Hello, and welcome to the What's the Point in Going Out? We're just going to end up back here anyways. Podcast. Sorry, I can't even say that without laughing because that is just life. And it's more life the older you get. The older you get, the more life it is. It's like, you want to go out for dinner? We're just going to come back here. Anyways, welcome to the... I'm sorry.
It's perfectly cromulent, Kristen. This is a perfectly cromulent reaction.
Podcast show. Simpsons podcast show. My name's Kristen. This is my friend Jesse. And every week...
Yahoy hoy.
And we are working on going through all of the Simpsons episodes, which will take us until we die, talking about all the wonderful things, each episode by episode. And we're here. I screwed up my whole opening. Welcome. And
hey, but like, what's the standard? Who says that's screwed up? Maybe that's just how they should all be.
They should all be awkwardly phrased.
You're just setting a precedent, Kristen. That's all.
How are you today, Jesse?
So good. So good.
Oh, that's great. I hope everyone listening to us is also good today. If you're not good, get better.
Go watch it. Go watch this episode of The Simpsons.
And if you haven't watched, maybe this is a perfect time to pause the podcast, go watch The Simpsons, come back, and have your own thoughts while we're talking about it.
It's not a terrible idea.
You know, so you can, in your head at least, join in the conversation. Or if there's like a comment section wherever you're watching this, like YouTube or whatever, you can, throw in some of your own live reactions or notices in the comments
We'd say follow along, but Kristen and I talk a lot. So we do an hour and 20-minute show on a 23-minute television show every week.
Yeah. I mean,
there'd be a lot of pausing for you guys. There'd be a lot of pausing.
If you want to pause a lot, go ahead and make, I actually think that's a really fun idea, but, that might just be annoying. Anyway.
We'll live tweet our next episode.
Are they called tweets still? I keep getting so
I don't know.
confused.
We'll live X our next episode. I don't know. Who knows?
Right. Should we start to dive in here? Should we start?
Yes. Find us on the social medias. Do that too.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah. Find us on the social medias. Hopefully,
we're at Cromulent Show everywhere. It's easy.
Yeah. Hopefully one of our social media things brought you here and you're like, hey, look at this cool stuff someone put online. Oh, there's a couple of dorks that like to talk about The Simpsons. I'll check them out.
And you wouldn't even be incorrect in assuming that.
You'd be really, really, really right. As I sit here in my Grogu hoodie-like thing, surrounded by a bunch of toys.
Listen, growing up's for the birds.
Forget that. You're only as young as you act. Old as you act. As young as you act. No, I'm going to screw that up to you.
My knees hurt.
Don't even go there. Let's just, you know what? I realized the other day, it's like, if you could all you have to do to tell someone you're old is be like, I started watching The Simpsons and when they first started.
Yeah,
you just have to mention that when The Simpsons first started airing, you were alive.
You're been here since the beginning.
You're old now. Hello, welcome to your oldness.
Older than The Simpsons, so
yeah. Yeah, that's all that has to be said. So we're gonna discuss this week. That was my sound effect for dramaticness. Did you like it? Thank you.
I like it. I do.
We're gonna do episode. I think I wrote down 49. Is it 49?
It's 49. Yeah.
It's not actually 50. Okay, so I'm just making sure I got my numbers right because there are the episodes that Places got rid of.
Yes. So
don't forget.
In actuality, this is 49. Don't let Disney lie to you and tell you that it's 48 because they took Stark Raving Dad out.
Yes. So episode 49, production code 8F12. It aired on January 24th, 1992. So I asked the last episode if this was on a Thursday now, because I remember because like The Simpsons used to play after the Tracy Ullman show for a little bit because they were part of that, or before it. I can't remember, but it was tied in there somewhere with that. And then The Simpsons moved to Thursday nights with the animation domination thing happening on Thursday nights. And it was like, and it was them trying to see if they could take over. Like Fox literally made a conscious effort to say, can we take over Thursday nights? And there was a lot of rating wars going on at that time because you had X-Files and you had some other really big shows too that were all kind of trying to vie for the same audiences. And like, you know, do you pack these ones together? Do you spread them out? You know, so we have Thursday nights, which they don't remain on Thursday nights forever, but it's a neat thing because I think generally speaking, everyone thinks of Sunday nights.
Yeah.
And The Simpsons, right? Like,
I
just
think that's
kind of
definitely
generally
what,
thinking.
like, that's where my head goes for sure,
right?
Is Sunday nights or every weekday at 5 and 6.
Yeah, there you go.
My local channel played The Simpsons at 5 and 6 and King of the Hill at 5:30 and 6:30. So you got an episode of Simpsons, episode of King of the Hill, episode of Simpsons, episode of King of the Hill.
Right?
That was how the reruns ran.
Yes, I remember reruns like that. Like, I remember watching rerun cycles like that for 100%.
I kind of just miss how TV used to be.
But this is during that small, I think it was like 2 or 3 years. Like, it wasn't even a huge span where they tried to dominate Thursday nights. And then they decided they had to take it back to Sundays for whatever reason. I think there was one other point in time where they did try to move to another time. Yeah, they needed the Sunday night people. Anyway, so January 24th, 1992. 1992. There's no chalk gag in this episode. They skip over the chalk scene.
Oh yeah, I guess it goes straight to the football opening, huh?
Pretty much. So there's a couch gag. The dog's in, like, they run to the couch. The dog's folded up, in the couch or whatever, and but there's no chalk gag. It's a shortened sequence. It opens up right on the Homer. Actually, they skip most of the opening, and it actually opens up with Homer.
Yep, I'm running it back right now. It starts right at the driveway. Yep. Yeah. And that's how you can know that there's a lot of content in the episode.
Yeah.
Short intro means long episode.
Yeah. So Santa's little helper's in the couch and Homer pulls him out. That's our couch gag for today. And we got Phil Hartman's in this episode as our special guest, which is lovely. It's written by Jay Kogen and Wallace Wolodarsky. Thank you. And it's directed by Rich Moore. There you go. You go. And then I'm going to do this in my best, like, Homer Simpson way. It was the year 1992. President George W. Bush hosted H.W. Bush hosted a White House reception to honor the U.S. women's soccer team after their World Cup win. The Star tabloid had published a story claiming Jennifer Flowers had changed her story about her and Bill Clinton's relationship. And the #1 hit song in America was All for Love by Color Me Bad.
Well, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that little time machine. Jump in the Wayback Machine with us, y'all.
I also forgot the #1 movie that week, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, starring Rebecca De Mornay. One of my favorite movies of all time because it's just a good movie. Yeah, it's good. That's not a bad week. Not a bad week in our history here.
Not at all.
So like I said, this episode jumps in pretty quick, right? Like, they got a lot of stuff going on. We open. I do love the openings for this. It's such a classic, like, sports show opening. But I love that it's not even just that. The opening starts with what is appearing to be a bad computer animated sequence. Like, you know, like it's like made to look like this was done. This is computer animation. And it's a football field that we're zooming in on. There's two guys running across it. I'm not quite sure how to help you with that. Computer stop. Sorry, that was my Alexa. So we zoom in on the football field, and there's two football players running at each other, and a blue guy and a red guy, and the red guy just puts out his arm and, like, clotheslines the blue guy, but it doesn't just clotheslines him, actually takes off his head. And I love that I love the decapitation, and I love that we follow the head through the logo.
Yeah. Yes.
Through the logo for the.
You would expect it to normally maybe be the football, but no, the head.
through the logo for Inside Football Today. and I love it. And we open up and we get our we have our commentator here. I don't remember his name, but I did note it down. But of course I can't find it in my notes now, so I'm just gonna look. It's all good. I am professional. What is it? Breast. Forget me.
Smooth Jimmy Apollo.
Brett Gunselman.
That's right. Yeah,
we open with Brett Gunselman, and he basically says we've got a lot of football to go through. Like it's one of those typical start of the season. Welcome to the football season, and we've got a bunch of exciting football. This is the pivotal 8 weeks of the NFL season. Like, so settle in, folks. It's going to be a lot of football.
6 straight hours of football.
And I love it because then we cut to Homer sitting on the couch and he's literally surrounded by snacks. And,
I feel like that's a quick little iconic scene too.
Yeah, it is such an iconic scene where he whips off his belt because he realizes he has a lot of eating to do.
He knows what's going on.
And then starts the big hand over body crossover, reaching behind and all around, eating the food as fast as he can, basically, is what starts to happen here, which is, it is totally, I think there's about 1,000 memes of that, isn't there? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there's 1,000 memes of that.
Yeah, for sure. It's a recognizable scene.
Yeah. And we got, and he starts we got the start of football, important football season for him. Yes. And you got all your classic snacks around him: nachos, salted crackers, it looks like, barbecue chips, all the things that you need. I'm sure there's pork. I think one of them's pork rinds in the back there too. Marge comes in and she's worried about Homer because she's like, all those fatty fried foods cannot be good for you. And we have that one of those nice little, you see these happen in The Simpsons once in a while where they zoom in on his heart or his brain, but this time it's his heart. And there's there's a big clog coming through his artery and gets stuck for a second, but then pops through the heart and he's okay. kind of pounds on his chest a little bit and says, a little beer will put that fire out. And
oh my gosh, so scary.
When you're a kid, you laugh at this. As an adult, does it just make does that ever just pop into your head when you're sitting there?
Every time I get a small chest pain, I'm like, yep, and here I go. Goodbye, cruel world.
You're eating when I'm eating chips, sometimes I literally see that animation in my head and I'm just like, oh no.
This is what's happening.
Yeah. So then we go back to and this is kind of the hook for the episode. We go back to the TV and we see Brett with Smooth Jimmy Apollo. This is when Smooth Jimmy Apollo comes in, and they let you know that he is right 52% of the time at predicting which team is going to win.
I mean, that's pretty good.
I mean, that means he's more right than he's not. And so then do they still do this on sports shows where they kind of give you because I know some shows used to blatantly be like, here's if you're betting, here's where you should bet.
Because betting is mega legal now. There's all these apps for sports betting.
True.
There are entire shows dedicated, one particular really big sports show is the Dan Patrick Show. So he still does a sports show, but then on the side they have a betting show.
Oh, yeah.
It is very, very, very prevalent now, for sure.
Right, yeah. Because here, Homer's there and he's got his notepad out and he's literally he's watching because he wants to know what team to bet on. And Smooth Jimmy picks Denver, right? He picks Denver, and Homer's all happy. Homer calls Mo. We cut to Mo, and I like that Mo's answer, his hello for the tavern is where the peanut bowl is freshened hourly. Yes. And you see Chief Wiggum sitting in the background there drinking a beer. It's important to note that because Homer is calling to place a bet, which would be illegal, I assume, in Springfield.
Yes.
And Homer wants to place a bet, $20 on Denver. Mo's gonna take Mo takes the bet, but this is where Chief
Wiggum.
Chief Wiggum. I can't talk or reason today. Sorry. Again, his hair's almost black in this episode, huh? Like this is another one where like his hair is like black. Chief Wiggum's beer glass is actually resting on Moe's betting book, which is probably where no bookie wants to have their book so close to the chief of police. But we are in Springfield, and Wiggum probably could look through that book and not understand the code of H. $20.
Yeah.
And I literally think that's what he writes. He's like H for 20, like for 20 pounds. I think they show. Oh no, he actually writes Homer. He writes Homer fully out. Homer, $20, Denver. And you got
not a very good bookie, Mo.
No, you got Smitty for $12 on New Orleans and Barney for $5 on Pittsburgh. But on the phone, Mo does use a secret code and says, nice doing business. After saying all of this out loud, $20, Denver, nice doing business with you, HS. Like,
I know, I wrote it down here.
Like it's like his ability to hide this from Chief Wiggum is terrible. And I think right away we find out that Denver is already losing, and that's when we have Lisa enter the scene when she's made her Malibu Stacy a little shoebox apartment. Has any of your girls ever done this? Like
they were literally doing this last night. I'm not even kidding. Yes, like making
little like shoebox apartments and things.
I'll send you a picture of it later, but 100% yes.
Yeah. So she's trying to explain to Homer, this is a kitchen. She's very proud of herself, and if you look at it, it's super like feminist, right? Because that's Lisa. Yes. So she's got like the girl power stuff in there.
This is a kitchen. This is where she prints her weekly feminist newsletter.
Yes. And Homer's just trying to see the game, and it makes Lisa mad because she's like, you're not listening to me. And Denver's sucking. They're lousy, blowing the game. Denver. Yeah. She takes it into the kitchen where Marge is bathing Maggie and has a little conversation with Marge where she explains that Homer is never interested in what Lisa's doing. He just doesn't he doesn't care about the things that she does. And Marge suggests that if she wants to get closer to Homer, she should bridge the gap. And instead of expecting Homer to come to her, she should try to take an interest in what Homer likes. Which, I mean, I think some parents would be like, no, you're the parent. You should try to take interest in your kids' stuff. But we are talking about Homer, right. And often it's other people that have to go to Homer, not Homer go to. Even though we did watch the episode where Bart builds the race car, soapbox car, and Homer goes to him in that one. But even in the end of that, it kind of ends up almost every time Homer does something like that where he takes an interest, the kids kind of end up parenting him in the end anyway. But anyways, so then Bart comes in, Marge is bathing Maggie in this kitchen sink, as I think most parents do at one point or another.
Right.
And Bart's eating ice cream or something like that and just dumps his plates in the sink with the baby. And and we return to the living room where New England is winning 35-7 over Denver in the third quarter.
It's not looking good.
It's not looking good for Homer. Lisa comes in and says, wouldn't it be fun if we watched the game together? Homer kind of begrudgingly almost tells her to sit down over there, and don't say anything.
Over.
One of those moments where it's like, you can be here, but be as far away as possible. Lisa sigh. I like this joke where Lisa sighs and he can't hear what's happening, and then she repeats it, and it causes him to say "do." I think there's a fumble or something like that. He's right. Like, it's badness in any case. So this is the start of Lisa and Homer watching football together. It's not the best start. Maybe I don't know if I would have a great hope for if I were her either. Meanwhile, Bart is having his own little day, and he's quite happy melting little army men with a magnifying glass. Do kids still do that? I don't know, because I don't have kids. Do kids still melt and burn things with magnifying glasses?
My kids don't, but I'll teach them how to.
Is anybody that was listening ever do that as a kid, burn ants or?
I don't think I ever burned it. I mean, I definitely it was more like, I'm gonna catch this paper on fire,
Yeah,
for sure.
Right?
I used a magnifying glass quite a bit for some
I think
Never
I
ants
remember
or army men, because I was like, man, I like ants and I like army men.
I think I remember one time like melting a piece of a lollipop or something like that with a magnifying
Okay,
glass.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
like like a little piece had broken off and I was like, "Ooh, I can melt that." I just don't know how much kids play with magnifying glasses still nowadays.
I don't either.
But when we were kids, you'd get one in like a prize thing somewhere, or you'd find one in like a grandparent's or somebody's house, right? And you're like, well, this will keep me entertained for 10 minutes. Um
Hopefully.
um, but so Bart's just out there having his own good time, and Marge takes the initiative upon hearing Lisa wants to spend more time with Homer. She goes out and approaches Bart and suggests that they should spend some time together, and that he needs new clothes. Bart, of course, saying, I'd love to. Like, obviously, he doesn't want to, but he's like, I'd love to, but I don't need any new clothes. Marge turns him around, and his like. It's just destroyed. It's destroyed on the back. It's shredded. It's dirty. Obviously they're going to end up going. This is the other half of the show is Marge and Bart going to buy clothing, and I do enjoy the buying clothing part because what little I think even
it's
if you
relatable.
Yeah, I think who did anybody enjoy shopping for clothes with their parents, really? Like, it was never, you'd see something that you want and they'd be like, yeah, but look at this. And you're like, oh God, no. And they're like, yeah, well, we're getting you this sweater instead of that t-shirt because you need a sweater. You're like, no. And then we go back inside and we see that Denver has definitely lost 55-10. And Jimmy's reminding everyone that when you're right 52% of the time, you're wrong 48% of the time. which is quite big. And Homer, I like this part because this is where Homer gets mad and he's like, why didn't you say that before?
Yeah, like Homer couldn't have done the math on that.
He's like, it's like, you need to tell me about that 48% so that I knew not to use you to bet my $20. So then we move on to the next game, which is Miami versus Cincinnati, and this is smooth. I like this. This is where you get some nice little funny things here. Where this is Jimmy's smooth lock of the week, and he pulls out a big lock, and Homer's like, "Ooh, that's a big lock," But he doesn't have the greatest faith in Smooth Jimmy now, so he needs to check out another channel where the guy declares Cincinnati to be the shoe-in of the week and pulls out a gigantic shoe. And Homer feels that he's making a good case by pulling out this gigantic shoe. That makes like the size of the shoe is determining whether or not this is based on fact. And but still not Homer needs 3 opinions, which is smart. He's doing his research, right?
Sure.
And we go to Frank appears on TV with the Gambletron 2000, where he's fed it all of the stats, all of the information it needs to make a smart choice. And in the blink of an eye, even, and the Gambletron says the winner is Cincinnati by 200 points. And of course, that makes Frank mad, calls it a hunk of junk, starts kicking it and breaking it because they're not going to win by 200 points. And this is not the end of Homer's search for the answer to his question of who he should vote for. Who he should bet on. I said vote for, meant bet on. And I think there's probably things like that. I know there's things like there's like websites and stuff that you can pay to go on and figure out like who's going to win. But this is where you get your classic like 1990s hotline coming in, where Homer sees a commercial for the coach's hotline. 1909, win big with 2 G's. Big with 2 G's.
You gotta make that money.
Yeah. Call now and win. And we're never wrong, apparently. And I like this. It's $5 for the first minute or whatever, and $2 for each additional minute. Homer calls, and you get that this is the coach's hot
line. Yeah, line.
line. It's like it's so slow. In the game of
Cincinnati. Yep, Cincinnati.
It's so slow. It's like you're gonna spend a fortune listening to this bit, which I think is like I don't know. There was always that joke about hotlines back then, right? Like you'd call them, it'd be like 5 minutes of like automated voices and musics and things like that. Like it's like you're listening to a commercial break before you even get to the product, and so that and I know, it's funny. I keep thinking that that some of these hotlines will die, but you see them on TV once in a while. Like, do you need this kind of advice? Here's a hotline. Because I guess,
Sure.
but that's like, oh my god, I was so shocked when it's those hotlines that you called, like talk to sexy singles in your area.
Right.
I saw a commercial for one of those a couple days, like a little while ago. I started seeing those again, and I'm like, those still exist. People don't just go online, like. You're gonna pay
we're having
when
a
you
regression. Some people just want to get away from the damn computer.
True, right? So then they're just gonna call. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes
I'll
sense.
just
now.
call this phone number that's gonna charge me $72.
That's gonna dump me into a room where they're gonna tell me there's pretty girls, but it's really just they make a joke about that on one of the Simpsons episodes too, right? Like, are there any girls here? And it's all just a room full of guys.
Yes.
So Homer, desperate, now turns to Lisa. Who do you think are gonna win, the Bengals or the Dolphins? And Lisa says, I don't know. The Dolphins. Good. He calls and makes the best for $50 on the Dolphins, and it's not just Homer making a bet this time with Mo. It is also quote unquote Mr. K, which I think we all know is Krusty the Clown.
Yeah, Mr.
K. Who puts down, but his is a much bigger bet. His is, what is it, $700?
I think so.
But I mean, he's a TV star, right? He's not going to be betting no. So Krusty puts down a bet for $700, and you hear a honk in the background, honk honk, and it's Sideshow Mel, who apparently wants to put a bet down for $2,000. So he's not So apparently Krusty's a conservative bettor at
Homer's
$700.
$20 bet suddenly are not seeming so substantial.
Yeah, and Sideshow Mel with $2,000. I was just gonna say, also, this is one of the episodes that kind of becomes famous for the Simpsons predicting things. Like, this is the episode where people look back at who they pick for this to win the Super Bowl this year, and it's like the Simpsons predicted it. This is one of those episodes that people point to when they're proving that the Simpsons can predict stuff, which. It is. We should do like a special episode one day where we just talk about. I know there's a lot of them, but we could pick some pivotal ones. And
there's some that probably need to be debunked as well.
Yeah, totally. There are some that need to be debunked, right? But like that would be a fun special episode. Just kind of go, because Simpsons over the years, because they've been on for so long, they have totally become this thing where people are like, Simpsons predicted it. Simpsons said it was going to happen. Even some of the really wacky things that they've thrown out there over the years, it's like, oh my God.
Like when Lisa inherits as the president inherits a financial crisis from President Trump. That's a real thing.
Yeah, like it's just like, did that just actually happen? Oh my God. But this is one of the episodes where people point to as, the Simpsons can predict the future. Because I believe, I've looked this up 3 times, but look it up one more time just to make sure I don't say it wrong. Super Bowl 1992 winners. So Washington 37, Buffalo 24, and this played 2 days before the Super Bowl. So them making a prediction about who's going to win the Super Bowl is actually very poignant at the time, because the Super Bowl is days away, which is probably why it's one of those things that sticks in people's heads, right? Because it's like, it was so close to the Super Bowl and they made a prediction. A lot of TV shows kind of, even during that time, kind of avoided, if they were doing a Super Bowl show, saying who the winner was. Like, they would leave it very vague, right? Like the show would end on people sitting down to watch the Super Bowl or something. They wouldn't say who won. Anyways, back to the episode. We cut to Marge and Bart shopping, because of course Marge won going shopping because she's the mom, and she's in the they're in the discount part, and Marge is picking out all these very some of them I would say are horrendous for the time, and if I was a 10-year-old kid at the time, I'd be like, no way. But looking back at it as an adult who maybe dresses a little eccentrically at sometimes, there's some great patterns in there. There's stripes, there's argyles, and Bart's not happy, but she's like, this one's 50% off, this one's 25% off, and she's just
my mom like
piling
that. It didn't
up
matter
there.
What it looked like, it mattered that the price tag.
So, anyways, Marge is buying all the cheap shirts because, as you were gonna say, that's how parents shop, right?
Yes.
Especially back in the day. I remember when I was a kid, you used to walk by those shops that were made specifically for kids, and you're like, I want to go in there, and your parents would look at you like, those are like the price of adult clothing. You're not going
Yeah.
in
We
there.
shopped at a clothing store called the Family Bargain Center.
Yes. My mom was big on going to a place called Fields, which was like a Zellers, Kmarty type of place. We also went to Zellers and Kmart.
Uh-huh.
you know that and once some shops started bringing in those like growing guarantee things. So like if you bought your kid a shirt and it didn't fit 2 weeks later because they grew, you could bring it
Oh,
back.
interesting.
I think it was Zellers that did that in Canada. Kmart might have done it too, but in any case, you know,
Rest
that
in peace,
became a
Kmart.
thing, you know? Hmm?
Yeah, I said rest
Rest in peace,
Kmart.
Kmart. Yeah. I remember when the last Kmart closed near me. It was a thing. And I remember when they closed the Zellers too, because people used to go to Kmart and Zellers, because the Zellers is a Canadian thing or whatever. And it's just like Kmart. Zellers was
Okay.
just like Kmart, you know.
Sounds
and when
fancier.
and when they closed it, like people were going to them like mad and literally just buying as much crap as they could.
Like, why didn't you guys do this whole time?
Right. And then Zellers actually is owned by the Bay, which is like a huge company, the Hudson Bay Company. And so now in the Bay, they like during the pandemic, they started bringing back pop-up Zellers and Zeller sections in the Bay. So you can go to a place that's selling Calvin Klein and Saks Fifth Avenue stuff, and there's a little section in there that's the
Sells
Zellers
like discount
section.
goods.
Yeah.
That's
Anyways, parents be shopping cheap because kids grow out of clothing. Newsflash, you know. Anyways,
as a dad, yes, they do.
yes, it's true. It's a thing that happens. So we go back to Homer and Lisa, and the Dolphins win. Lisa was right. Yay. Like, you know, they're both really happy and they're cheering. And Homer's all like, woohoo, 50 big ones. And Lisa right away is very confused by this statement. And she's like, what do you mean 50 big ones? And he explains that he, you know, because he's trying to make it sound good because betting's bad. So he's trying to make it sound good, you know, like, and I can't remember the exact analogy. Let me bring it up. It's a little something he does to make football more exciting. Lisa says, what could be more, I love this because it's so Lisa, what could be more exciting than the savage ballet that is professional football? You know, like it is so Lisa to see like kind of this beauty in just the game itself, because that's how Lisa views things, right? Like, you know,
Very analytically.
yeah. And Homer goes on to explain that he's like, you like ice cream, right? But you like it better with like chocolate sauce, whipped cream, and cookie bits, right? And she's like, yeah, and that's what betting does for football. It's like, I like football.
Doesn't?
Betting makes it even better. So, you know, he kind of gets Lisa on board with it, right? Basically, is what it comes down to. Lisa's kind of like, okay, it makes good betting. I like that she equates it to gambling makes good things even better.
Yes,
which I'm sure there's some gambling people out there that will say, yes, definitely.
Yeah, they always quit before their big score.
Right? So then that's when Homer has his revelation that this is good. We have something in, like between us now. Like it's like, well, like he's like, oh no, but he tells Marge, right, to keep this between us. But also like we have, you know, Homer's like, yeah, I got this golden goose. Apparently she can pick football games, and she's happy because she's not. And like, you know, his logic too is also like that she's happy that they can spend time together, and you know,
everybody wins.
Everybody wins. So then we go back to Bart and Marge on their shopping trip, and I love that I love that in the change room, because I know they do this in some change rooms too, especially back then where they'd have cameras in the change rooms.
Yeah. Not cool, man.
No, not cool, but just to make sure people aren't stealing or whatever. And I know like some stores used to be like, oh well, we only review them if we think someone's stolen. Like, so it's like, you know, you've been caught. So now we have the tape that shows you putting the clothes on underneath your clothes. I'm like, no, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. But
Winona, where are they?
So anyways, Bart notices that while he's changing to try on all the wonderful outfits that Marge got for him, that the room is being monitored, and he sees the camera and starts dancing around and watches the camera follow him, to which point he writes a sign and shows it to everyone that says "Get bent." Well, it shows it to everyone that's watching the video. It says "Get bent." And at first, the security guards that are actively watching it are a little disturbed, but then one of them says, "Forget him. Look at booth number 3." And they're
Those
like,
aren't the socks she came in with.
They're like, "Oh my god!" And it's very upsetting. Apparently.
They leave with pump action shotguns.
I know, it's like such an over escalation as what the Simpsons do. And of course, Bart has the ultra humiliating mom coming to check on how you're doing, and just whips the door open. Like, no concern for how nude you are. She does not care who's around. Just whips the door open.
Nah, I'm glad they usually had locks on them, because my mom would have done this.
Like the knock, knock, knock. Are you let me
My
in.
mom would do the, let me come in there with you. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm 12. I will change and I will show you what it looks like. I know how to do this.
So Marge whips the door open, and of course the twins, Terry and Sherry, are standing there, and they give Bart a little giggle.
I like that Marge is just oblivious to the entire store, pointing and laughing at her son.
Yeah, like she just keeps going. I mean, I feel like that's such a mom move, though. Like, I think some moms really would not, like, they'd be like, these people do not matter. Like,
right. Yeah. No,
show me your clothes that are
there.
on.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, but it doesn't, but the humiliation doesn't end at Marge opening the door. It includes, "Oh, Bart, you could use some new underwear too." Like,
right.
Nobody wants, no kid wants their mom talking about their underwear in front of people.
And
that's not what you want.
Technically, Bart throughout The Simpsons sort of romantically is linked to Sherry and Terry. Like that, like,
yeah,
you know, the consistent crush is between the two of them. So it's like he's seeing the girls that
yes,
you know,
yeah, the crush
perhaps it's not established yet, but
I feel like even in those early episodes, there was like a hint to it, right? Like, because they're always there, and they're always either picking on Bart or kind of like low, like they're smiling or whatever,
right.
know, like kids do, right? Anyway, so then we go back to Homer and Lisa watching, and Miami winning 24-10 over Cincinnati. Lisa saying that, like, Mom will be oh, did I? No, I'm right. I'm like, did I move backwards in time? No. Pointing out that Mom's gonna be happy about the extra money we're winning and stuff like that, and Homer basically being like, no, and pointing out that, like, whatever happens, we've had a good time today, and they both come to this understanding. They're not going to tell Mom about the money that they've won, and it becomes a secret little bonding point for them, though, right? Like, we have a secret against Mom. Like, this is our secret, our little secret, and they have a giggle about it, and so their day is going really, really well, and we cut to Bart in his nice blazer. And his nice, like, striped, like, checkered blazer or striped blazer or whatever, and
like he's about to say pip pip then.
Yeah, Jimbo and all them are outside the car trying to get him to come out rocking the car, because they want to make fun of him in his fancy new clothes that his mom bought him, and that's Bart's day. So then,
been a good one so far.
Yeah, and then we also find out that Homer tucks Lisa in, finds out that we're gonna do more daddy-daughter days. We're gonna do this again next Sunday. Like, this is their thing now. They're gonna watch football together every Sunday. They're gonna place bets every Sunday, and Lisa's happy, and that's all that matters. She's happy. She's getting to spend time with her dad. They have I'm not gonna say it's good to keep secrets with one parent against the other parent. But when you're a kid and it's like you have something with anyone where it's like it's your guys' thing and it's your guys' little secret.
I do that with my kids all the time.
Yeah. But it's special. There's something that feels more special to it about it as a kid, right? It's like, oh, this is our thing. Like, we're sneaking a sundae, we're sneaking a cookie, it's like this very precious thing to you, right? Where it's just like, it's exciting, and it's
ours is scary movies.
Yeah. And it's like this thing that it's like nobody else gets to be in on it. It's just it's just your thing, and it's very good. Anyway, so Lisa's very savvy, and she's picking up on things to place her bets even when they're just watching the pre-interviews, and she's like, there's that one guy where right away she's like, he's scared, he's not gonna win, and
yeah,
she's just basing it off of the way that he's talking, and a Homer always overdoing it, also gives her too much love during this time too, tucks her into bed too tight, throws her up in the air too much. Classic Homer move, right? Like, if you're gonna love something, love it to death. And so
I will love you and squeeze you.
Yeah. So they watch more football games, and I think she's quite savvy at this, because she's not just basing her things on its stats. She's watching the interviews and basing it on her gut, on how people are reacting in interviews. Plus, there's one, I think it's the Raiders. She's like, they're gonna win because they always cheat and stuff like that. Like, she's picked up on it really quickly, right? She even goes to the library, where there's a sign that says the library, the hip place to be, because libraries.
Yeah, and then she says like, the sign's really working because there's one person in the library. It's been a madhouse, Lisa.
Right. And she goes and looks up some football stuff where you get
football, homoeroticism, odd Canadian rules.
Yep.
Phyllis George in.
Yes, thank you. Because whenever anyone talks about NFL, CFL, crazy oddball things come up, right?
Right.
That's how it goes. And just more of them winning. Lisa's on a winning streak, and I think they even go out for dinner and kind of have a celebratory dinner with all the winnings they've acquired, because they're on a roll. And I mean, not good for Mo though, right? Mo's probably like, well, what the
That's
hell?
what I was like.
Winning.
Mo is always so broke. I'm shocked to hear him cover a $2,000 Sideshow Mel bet.
Right? Like, what's he gonna do with that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so but they have, before they they do go out for dinner, but before they do that, they decide to officially call Sundays daddy-daughter days instead of Sundays. They're not Sundays anymore. They're daddy-daughter days.
Just for 16 or 17 weeks a season.
Yeah. Homer goes to pick up, after that, they decide the daddy-daughter day thing. Homer goes to pick up his money. Where Mo pulls it out. I didn't know that Mo, until this scene, I didn't know that Mo wore such stylish cowboy boots. Like, apparently Mo carries all his money around in a very, very stylish pair of cowboy boots.
They're red with purple stars and a longhorn on them.
Like, they're so anyways, he pulls out $135 for Homer. So that's not a bad winning off of, like, Homer's making $23 bets, $20 bets, $50 bets. And as is the joke, anytime they do betting on a show where it's like someone's pulling money out of a shoe, they're always like, I love the smell of your stinky feet now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the smell of victory. And so then after that, they go to the Gilded Truffle, but I mean, it's not just Homer and Lisa, right? Like, Homer takes the whole family to the Gilded Truffle, which is one of our fanciest restaurants in all of Springfield at this point.
$135 in 1992.
Right. Marge at first is like, oh my God, look at these prices. Like, we could, I like that she says, we could get rid of the termites for the cost of this meal. And Homer's like, tut, only the best for my family. It's like, okay, but we could fix the house instead of going out for dinner. This
is what passes for a wine list these days.
Marge questions where the money's coming from. Lisa in on the whole secret betting thing, is like, can't a man just do something nice for his family? And Marge is obviously concerned, but clearly at the same time, what is she gonna do? If no one's gonna fess up, no one's gonna fess up.
Also, she sees them connecting now and doesn't want to ruin that.
And that's a happy thing, right? Like, they've got their special thing. Homer does the old dad joke, such a I have an uncle that's like this, where the waiter comes, says, I'm Marco or whatever, I'll be your waiter, and he's like, hello, I'm Homer, I'll be your customer.
It's the same guy who goes, oh, there's no price tag on it, and it must be free.
Right? It's but the whole family laughs except for Maggie, who's, she don't laugh. Um, and they have a nice dinner. They have a nice dinner, and I think it ends on Homer touching Lisa's hand because it's just showing that they really have
Yeah,
this
after he had the
this
violin player
connection.
play the Broken Neck Blues for her.
Thank you. And you know what? It's interesting because this is one of the times where it shows that he knows that she likes music stuff.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like it's
Saxophone.
yeah, it's a very special moment, right? And then more sports betting. Except for at this point, it's not even just Lisa going with her guts. Like she's got a notebook there, she got a pencil. She's like actually fully working her way through this now. Like she's learned the game of football, and she's here for it to pick the winners. And I think she calls it her pick, and it's the 5-star special. She's even worked out her own little gimmick now. It's like like the one guy had the big lock and the other guy had the big shoe. She's got a 5-star special.
Yeah. Really quickly, not to go too far backwards.
Yeah.
But I just typed the Broken Neck Blues into Spotify to see what pops up.
Yeah.
And apparently it's probably not a real song, or it's not on Spotify. But there is a playlist called the Broken Neck Blues, and the cover art is Lisa and her saxophone.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. I'm there for it. So just more betting. And it and this time it's not even Homer that calls Mo this time.
Yeah,
Because
Lisa's
at this
calling
point,
me.
Mo knows the
This is
entire
LS.
family. Yeah. Mo knows the entire family, and apparently he's totally fine with taking a bet from a kid. Because it's not even like she says, she's like this. She basically says, "This is Lisa Simpson. I'm calling for my dad," and he's like, "Okay, give me your bet," like.
I mean, in a different time, in the early 90s, at the corner store, the guy would let me buy the pack of cigarettes if I came with a note from my dad.
True. These
My
things
dad would send me with a note and this, $6 or whatever, and say, "Go get me a pack of smokes." Raj knows what I want.
Yeah, people used to do that type of stuff, right? And I like it though because at this point, Mo's so over taking bets from them because they keep winning. He's like, "Just give me the just give me the bet, Lisa." Very quick and to the point. And then they show Homer coming in and collecting like $120. And this is kind of the pivotal point in the show, right? Because this is where we find out. Because Barney asks him, "What you doing next Sunday?" And Homer says it's the Super Bowl next Sunday, and then we move. Then Barney's like, "What about next Sunday, like after the Super Bowl?" And Homer does agree to go bowling the next Sunday, even though Barney's going to be going out with his mom, who's moving to Norway, I believe it is. But
such a strange little,
but whatever. But that's important because Sundays have been Daddy-Daughter Day, And does Lisa realize that this means that Daddy-Daughter Days are over?
Spoiler alert, no, she doesn't.
Then we cut to the school where we catch the end of Ralph Wiggum's essay, "The Happiest Day of My Life," and it's apparently when the doctor said he didn't have worms anymore.
That'd be a pretty happy day, I suppose.
Everybody loves a good little random Ralph, don't we? Like random Ralph is good. And then Lisa gets called up to the to read her essay, where she gives a very poetic and because Lisa, whenever she talks about stuff like this, she's always like kind of enthusiastic and poetic about it, right? Like it's the way she talks about it is like it's watching this football game is the greatest thing that's ever happened to her in the day of her life. I mean, granted, her life hasn't been that long, but while she's giving the essay, she mentions that the 4-point spread or whatever it was and that's when the teacher clues in that she's not just talking about a game of football, she's talking about betting on football.
Yeah.
And she has a "oh my god" moment,
Oh, Elizabeth Hoover.
And then, like, we just go back to more of Homer spending money on his family. Like, he's bought everybody's gifts. He's gotten Lisa, like, obviously he remembers that Lisa had the little shoebox apartment at the beginning, because he goes and buys her like all this Malibu Stacy stuff, including the lunar the lunar rover and other things. We have Marge getting Meryl Streep's versatility that's shaped like an Oscar.
Yeah.
Maggie's got a elephant, but does not care about the elephant because, like any real child, just wants the bubble wrap. I don't even think that
Bart gets like the yak back.
Yeah, like one of those things, and it says words, right? Like
kiss
shut
my
up.
butt. Go to hell. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. So actually he's gotten everybody a toy that actually, or a thing that he knew they would love. So he's not a terrible dad. It's not like he doesn't completely pay attention, which is always it's always inferred that Homer just doesn't pay attention to anybody. But he has these moments where it's clear that he pays attention, at least on some level, right? Because he always gets people, he often, maybe not in Bart's birthday in the last one, but he often gets people presents that act like, whenever anything like this happens, he always gets people presents that they actually are really excited about,
Thoughtful Homer.
And I think this is when Marge becomes increasingly concerned about the money, right? She's like, okay, we've gone out for fancy dinners. Now you're buying everyone gifts. Where is this money coming from? And she asks Homer directly, you need to tell me about this money. And as would anybody do, it's like, I'm only going to tell you if you promise not to get mad.
Right.
Which is the signal of you're to do this. Yeah, it's like, you're going to hate this. You're going to hate that I'm going to tell you. And then he, and she points it out too, like, anytime you tell me not to ask me if, like, tell me not to get mad, I do get mad. And that's when he explains that, like, they've been gambling, him and Lisa.
It's only illegal in 48 states.
Yeah, and I like too that he points to this as, this is Lisa's talent. She can pick winners. Like I'm encouraging her by doing this.
Playing or your.
Yeah, like, I'm encouraging her. This is like, she's got a talent for this. He also points out that it's a victimless crime. The only victim is Mo. Basically, Homer points out that everybody's happy. Everyone's got everything they wanted. There's nothing bad going on here. Like, there's only positives happening. He's also got his foot bath thing. Like, everybody wants a foot spa, right? Like, bubbly foot bubbles on your feet and warm and nice, But he points out everything's good. Nothing bad could come of this. Famous last words, right? Because whenever anybody in a TV show says nothing bad could happen, it's like it's going to.
It might.
Yeah. So then we go to the morning where Homer's still using his foot spa, and right away at the breakfast table there, Lisa starts talking about the Sunday after Super Bowl, because they've been watching a lot of TV, and so maybe the Sunday after the Super Bowl they can go for a hike and they can see this tire fire. I like that she points out they can see the tire fire from this lookout, and it's beautiful because the tire fire is one of the great sights of Springfield.
What a beaut.
Yeah. And then that's when Homer points out that he's actually going bowling with Barney next Sunday. And of course, Lisa is distraught and upset because Sundays are now daddy-daughter days. And how dare he plan something that she's not invited to? Homer saying the new football season is only 7 months away, pointing out that, and that makes her feel used, right? Because now she's like, you only wanted to hang out with me.
I don't know how you would feel any other way.
No, it's like, you literally are cutting me off at the end of football season and telling me I can come back at next football season. And, she takes it all the way too, deducing that he never wanted to hang out with her at all. Marge calling him selfish. Bart doesn't give a crap. He's just playing with his little word machine there saying, go to hell, go to hell.
Shut up.
And thanks his dad for the great gift again. And, Homer's upset because he's made everyone but Bart sad, right? Bart's not sad because Bart's Bart and he lives in his own little world too, just like Homer does. So, it's all good for Bart. because I like this dream sequence, because this is one of the dream sequences like where we peer into the future, or I suppose a version of the future, and it's Lisa's dream, and it shows her at like a card table gambling away a ring and things like that.
Oh yeah,
and
my third husband bought me this. Give me chips for it. Are you sure, ma'am? Don't tell me what to do.
yeah, like she's smoking, she's haggard too, right? Like
Yeah,
she's not
yeah.
healthy. And she wakes up gasping and upset from this dream, because it's like her mind has taken it to like, this is what her life will become because she gambled with her dad. She's gonna become this chronic gambler her whole life, and end up like that. And this is when she decides that all of Malibu Stacy's new things were bought with bad money, and she's going to return to her former life of living in the shoebox apartment, where everything was honest. Like maybe it's not fancy, but at least it's honest. And she basically gets rid of everything, and announces to everybody. I like that she takes down, because in the last episode we watched, she was reading the non-threatening boys scene magazine, and she has like a poster on her wall of Corey, who looks very non-threatening, makes a little megaphone for herself.
Isn't that, I don't think we've gotten to the episode, but the Corey episode where Lisa gets addicted to calling Corey's hotline.
Corey. Right, yeah.
Here's some words that rhyme with Corey.
Yeah.
Story. Allegory.
I like that we both knew that so well. Anyway, she opens her window, uses the poster to announce to the world that she's giving away all of her ill-gotten Malibu Stacy stuff, and all apparently there's a million girls in her neighborhood that are willing to run down as a mob, including one. I don't know if you noticed this, but there's one that looks just like Lisa, only like her points aren't pointed, they're like bent down and things like that. It's like Lisa without hairspray. She's in one of the scenes, she's right in the front. I always pick her up. I'm going to rewatch it right now.
I also like that Bart gets his firecracker airplane trampled. It's like he's about to destroy it anyway, so why not?
But yeah, like in the mob, there's a girl near the front, and it's like she's very Lisa-esque, only her points aren't standing up. Her points are like falling down, and it's just like, it was like you can tell.
There she is in the purple dress.
Yeah, you can tell it's something someone banged off really quick, right?
Yeah,
she's got such a Lisa vibe about her. I always pick out things like that. Like whenever I watch things like this, I see it. And we got that girl we got a girl that's like the one that's smart or whatever, that's in the show for a bit. Like there's familiar faces of like kids that hang out in the background, right?
That's
kids that
too
hang out in the background.
Good Malibu Stacy.
Yeah, so they trample Bart's thing that he was about to blow up. There's so many of them running into the house. Like there's got to be like at least 30 of them, let's say. And they take everything within seconds and run back out. Homer comes in with a Malibu Stacy chinchilla coat. A girl comes and grabs it right away, and she's fine with it because she doesn't want any of it. Homer starts apologizing for hurting her her feelings, and says, I did actually have a really good time watching football with you, and asks if they can still watch the Super Bowl together. And Lisa, it's like for a moment, Lisa believes that this is just a genuine moment that they're having, that like this means that like he did actually like watching football with her. They can go and have fun watching the game together tonight or on Sunday, and it's going to be great. Lisa saying, I would like to see what all the fuss is about, because she's obviously never watched a Super Bowl game. So, she's excited. And right away, Homer asks who's going to win. And Lisa's face turns from happy to super sad. And she says, "Put me down." And, and it's like, just like that, the mood changes. And this is when she kind of lays out her thing. It's like, I could tell you who's going to win the Super Bowl. But if I tell you, then it just and you bet on it, then that just confirms that all you really cared about was betting. It wasn't about spending time with me. It was about the betting. And Homer's like, okay. So like this is like one of the coldest Homer moments, I think, really, right? Because right away he's like, okay. And it's like, no, you should be like, no, I won't bet on it. But no, he's just like, okay. So Lisa's like, so, okay, fine. And she's like defeated at this point. She's sitting with her head hanging down, and she's just like, Washington. What like they're the mortal lock. They're who's gonna win. But and Homer gets happy, but this is the pivotal point. I'm gonna spoil it for everybody. She's like, however, and the however is that she might be so filled with rage that she's telling him the wrong team.
Yeah.
And that it's clouding her it's clouding her judgment because subconsciously she wants him to lose. So in that case, the answer is Buffalo, not Washington. And that this brings Homer some panic, probably not the right kind of panic, because he just is like, tell me who I should bet on. Like he still doesn't let go of it. And she says this is when she gives the ultimate, like the ultimatum, like the ultimate ultimatum of, if I still love you, Washington, or if we, and if not, Buffalo. So now she's made the stakes for this not just about money, it's about the love between Lisa and Homer. And this upsets him. And as Homer always does, his instinct is to go and eat, except he's not really eating. He's just dipping a chip in the dip repetitively. And
Homer, that's enough dip on that chip.
and watching the football. And where they point out that they're being broadcast, I think it is in 150 countries. And they go through some countries, like an island country and like a tropical island country, and France, where we see the two guys from the episode where
Bart to France. The grapes of wrath.
Yeah, from the Grapes of Wrath. I do like it when they do callbacks like that and you see people that we haven't seen in forever. They decide not to watch the football and instead start watching a Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
Because them French, they love that. And Homer is all ready for the big game. He's got all his snacks piled up around him, just like in the beginning of the episode. Like they're in that kind of act, literally piled around him. Lisa's upstairs playing her saxophone, and she's
saxophone.
Sad. Yeah, she's sad. And Homer notices. I like it. I like how Homer hears the saxophone and says that every note's like a dagger in his heart. Aww. Cut to Mo, where Mo.
You see what you're doing, Homer?
Cut to Mo, where Mo's Super Sunday brunch spectacular is happening, and you can see a loaf of super bread, which I guess is the Simpsons Wonder Bread, and I think what looks like to be a package of bologna.
Bologna.
Oh, it is bologna. Yeah, it is. Mo's still taking bets and stuff like that. Homer shows up, and Homer shows up as Mo's taking a bet, and Mo's like, "Sorry, Homer, I don't take bets anymore." I love that part because he's just like, "I'm clean. Like I can't have this." He knows he can't keep just paying somebody, right? That doesn't work. But Barney points out that that Mo's been taking bets all morning. Yeah. Shut him up. Mo gives him a free beer. I mean, it's all works.
Yeah, then Homer says he's not going to take a bet, so Mo takes back the beer. And pours it
yeah. And then he tells everybody how he had a girl that could pick the winners and he spoiled it. Cut to the pregame show. Of which I like how they're like, we're 45 minutes in the pre-game show. Like, let's just point out that the pre-game show now isn't even like an hour long anymore. It's like
4 hours long.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4
all
hours
day
long.
Leading up to it.
Yeah. But he has actor Troy McClure on there. So I think this is our second Phil Hartman one, because Phil Hartman was also the voice of Smooth J or whatever.
Okay.
The one that was picking the locks for the bet of the week. Troy's there to drum up business for his new sitcom premiering tonight after the Super Bowl. That used to be I guess it probably is kind of a big thing, but I remember it's like that was like your show's premiering after the Super Bowl, called Handle with Care. He plays Jack Handel, a retired cop, and he shares an apartment with a retired criminal. It's the original Odd Couple.
I like when he's like, "What drew you to this project?" You're like, "Well, the script was great, and my recent case with the IRS is just finished up." So,
yeah. And then, the game's about to start. Yeah, the game starts. Washington, things aren't going good, whatever. Homer is stressed and he thinks Buffalo's gonna win and that Lisa hates him. And I like it because one of the guys who's actually like a barfly that you see pop up all the time, he probably has a name now that I just am not thinking off the top of my head, but it's the one that wears the green hat. Homer makes it sound like he bet his daughter on the game.
Oh,
And and he's just like, ooh, what a gambler. Like he's impressed by it.
Very few lines. They actually just killed him off this last season.
Oh, did they?
Mhm.
Wow. But yeah, he's one of those ones that you get used to seeing. So the score at the half, like we're going to check in on the halftime score. The score at the half, Buffalo 14, Washington 7. And then it's time for the never tedious Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh, yeah.
And it's such a beautiful show. It's people of Earth, like there's aliens come out and they're like, people of Earth, we're bringing
traveled
you
10 billion light years to bring you this song of peace. 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock.
And it's like, it's probably the lamest halftime Super Bowl show.
Yep, even
ever.
Bart. Oh, this sucks. Come on, snipers, where are you?
Yeah. But I mean, it is, kind of stereotypical of football-ish. And then they've got I love there's a Duff beer commercial thing where they mimic the Duff beer. I mean, I like
remember those too.
Yeah. I like that they include cultural moments like this, it's, and it's fun. Duff Dry wins the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And, whatever. And I like that in the bar, they're talking about it like it's real, like they're cheering it on and they're talking about it like that's the important part of the game, Hey, and this is where Barney says, hey, Homer, didn't you say if Duff Drive wins, your daughter loves you? And it's like, not Duff Drive, Washington. And Barney's like, it's okay. They're both great teams. Like, so as soon as that's over, the Redskins make a top touchdown and Homer's kind of gets it, rejoices in that, oh my God, there's a chance my daughter still loves me, because he did it, because to be fair, he didn't place a bet on it and he's just waiting to see if his daughter loves him at this point.
That's all.
So we cut to the church where Reverend Lovejoy is congratulating people on not going and watching the game, instead coming to church like the good Christians they are. And at which point one of the guys stands up, oh yeah, the game, and runs out of the room.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, he didn't even stick around. So the whole game comes down to one play. You even see Lisa sitting on the couch. She's got her, because she does love her dad. So she's even praying that Washington wins, right? Like she didn't want, that's what she wants. And so she's sitting on the couch. The whole family's watching tensely at home. Homer's watching in the bar. She's sitting there with her fingers crossed. Homer's sitting there begging that they make this play. And they do. So the Washington Redskins win Super Bowl 26. Bart's like, Dad must love you. And she's like, yeah, I always knew he did. Like there was never a doubt in her mind, really, she says. Mo doesn't understand why Homer's so excited. He didn't win any money because he didn't place a bet, but he's like, I won the love of my daughter, and goes running out. And then we have the really nice thing that happens the next weekend. Apparently Homer doesn't go bowling with Barney. He sticks with Daddy-Daughter Day. They've gone for a hike up to Mount Springfield, where they can see well, Homer's dying as they finish the hike, right? And Lisa's like, come on, Dad. And he's dying like any of us over a certain age people would be. And they watch the sunset. And, the episode ends with Homer saying, I'll watch the sunset after I catch my breath. He's got his arm around Lisa. And it's very pretty. And it's a nice, it's they're having their daddy-daughter Sunday that she wanted.
And you see the nice view of the tire fire.
You can see the tire fire. Yeah. All in all, it is a great episode. And it does have a lot of really fun, iconic moments, I think. Oh, and also I forgot to mention, I did write this down, but it's called Lisa the Greek. And it's because it's a reference to a sportscaster that used to make, I wrote his name down, Jimmy the Greek, Snyder, who used to that was an American bookie and sportscaster, and so he used to make bets on like you tell people what to bet for.
If
right?
you don't know, now you know.
Right. Yeah, and then like I said, this episode is often called out when people are like, The Simpsons predicted it, because this played 2 days before the Super Bowl, and they said Washington would win, and who won? Washington.
This was during a legendary run for Buffalo, who lost 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Oh, wow. Like, some people would have said they might have picked Buffalo just because maybe Buffalo was due, right? Like, anyway, so
Wrong.
this is one of those episodes that when people say The Simpsons predicted it, and here's their list of famous predictions, this is one of them. So there you go. What do you think of this episode, Mr. Jesse?
I think it's a fine filler episode, Kristen. Like, it is one of those ones where, like, yeah, I have no dislike for it at all. There's never a moment where I'm like, whatever. But it doesn't blow me away. It's not one that I think back to a lot. Besides the couch scene of Homer eating all the, like, there's not really any like big moments to me that jump out.
No.
The Bart and Marge subplot it's fine.
It's filler. No, it's filler though. It's totally.
Yeah. It is a very good middle of the season. I would rate it. Are we rating it? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, let's rate it.
2.6.
You know what? I was thinking 2.5, but basically for the same reasons. Like, there are images, like, this is one of those episodes I know because it's the one where Homer and Lisa watch football together, and it's something I've remembered. Like, I used to watch football with my grandpa. We had seasons tickets to the BC Lions. It was an event that we did together. And
so you knew all about those oddball Canadian rules.
I did. But this would have played at the same time that I was doing that with my grandpa. Yeah. So, like, this episode is stuck in my mind partially because of that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%.
It's tied to those memories, but also like the chip eating scene. I think I always seem to remember the part where they go hiking at the end because you get that long, pretty. They actually make Springfield look very like a painting. You know,
I think more than that about that scene that I find memorable is Homer and not regular Homer clothes.
Yeah, Homer's not in regular Homer clothes. I'm trying to think like I always remember the lock of the week and the shoe of the week. Like, I always, like, as soon as I was watching this, I'm like, oh yeah, the lock of the week and the shoe of the week. So it does have some memories in there for me, but like, it's definitely not jam packed with jokes. You know what I mean? Like, it's not one of those ones. It's definitely
one of the more, it's supposed to touch your heart a little more than your funny bone.
Yeah, for sure. But it's also like, the high stakes of, does she still love her dad? Does he still love her?
Find out this Thursday night on Fox.
But I think probably what makes it more iconic in my mind than anything is the fact that just 2 days before the Super Bowl, or like 2 or 3, like 2 days before the Super Bowl or whatever, they predicted the winner. I mean, they had a 50-50 shot at it.
Simpsons did it.
But that's part of what makes them like that. When people look back at the Simpsons predicting stuff, that's one of the things people use as like, look at days before they put it out there and it happened, So, I mean, we could go into conspiracy theories about it. Like, maybe they chose the winner.
Was Fox broadcasting the Super Bowl that year? I'd be curious to know.
Right. Like, there's all those things. But yeah, like, I think I have some information here. Like, apparently, in general, that episode has mixed reviews. Like, people don't hate it, people don't love it. It's not especially,
I feel
memorable. So that makes sense, but we do get some like, this is one of those episodes where we get lots of little cameos by people, if you will, like Krusty shows up, Sideshow Mel shows up, Troy shows up, like, we get lots of Barney's in there, and like, we do get lots of background characters that kind of pop up here and there. Oh, and the French guys from that episode, we get that call back there. So, I mean, this would have been an episode that, like, they're playing it like 2 days before the Super Bowl. It's why it's about football, and it's about Fox drumming up business for the Super Bowl, right? Yeah, you're not wrong. That's what this episode really is. It's about building Super Bowl hype. I imagine at the time, like, that it probably had that effect for some people. Just like, oh, they're doing a Super Bowl episode, a football episode right before the Super Bowl. Yeah, let's watch it. Like that seems like a natural reaction. Who is our character profile for today?
Our character profile from our beautiful Simpsons world, the Ultimate Simpsons Guide, seasons 1 through 20 book is Smooth Jimmy Apollo.
Ooh.
His occupation, professional football prognosticator on TV. His accuracy rate is a little better than 50-50. His chief prop is a huge padlock that is slapped onto the table to illustrate his lock of the week. And his turn-ons are being right and not being wrong. His turn-offs are being wrong and compulsive gamblers who take his advice. He's got a quote here, too. Our first game today, Denver versus New England, is too close to call. But if you're one of those compulsive types who just has to bet, well, I don't know, Denver. And then I got 2 questions for you. I feel like both are really easy if I give you the multiple choice. So I'm not going to give them to you immediately. I'll let you kind of guess it out, and then if you need it. The first one, if you don't get, and I give you the multiple choice, it'll be like so dummy obvious, it's not funny. Who sells the monorail to Springfield? Can you remember his name?
Oh my God, I can see it in my head. Like I'm actually running through the scene in my head, and I'm hearing the part. Hang on. I'm hearing the part where he says, "I've sold monorails to here,
Ogdenville, Brocktonville, New Haverbrook."
Yeah. Oh my God.
And it's put them on the map.
Nothing like a genuine, bona fide 6-car monorail. What's it? I'm recalling like the entire scene. What's his name? Monorail. Monorail. Oh my God. I cannot think of his name.
Here's a hint. What if I told you his initials are the same and they are L? First and last name.
Is it Lionel? Is it Lionel Hutz?
Lyle Landley.
Lyle Landley. That's what it is.
It is Phil Hartman too. So you're right in the yes, exactly.
Yeah. I'm like, it is Phil Hartman. I know that. But yeah.
Okay, God, second question I'm going to be hearing
the monorail song in my head all day.
This one I'll give you the multiple choice if you want it, and it might not be as obvious, but it probably will if you're a Simpsons fan. What famous musician writes Marge and tells her that in England, French fries are called chips?
Oh, it's Paul McCartney, isn't it? Is it Ringo?
It's Ringo.
It's
Ringo.
It's Ringo. Yep. I knew it was one of those two. I knew it was either Paul McCartney or Ringo because she paints the painting.
Coincidentally, the options were Ringo, Elton John, and Sting.
Oh, yeah, because she does the painting and sends him the Ringo Starr the painting, and then
I guess I should tell everybody that these trivia questions that we're getting are from a Simpsons trivia box. It's put out by 20th Century Fox, so like it's
official.
Yeah, it does say 100% official, but the game is like trivia box is trademarked. I'm not just calling it that. It's what it's
what it's
I think they have many versions. This is the Simpsons one. So we're pulling questions out of there just for funsies at the end. And then if you're watching the video, Simpsons World Ultimate Simpsons Guide, gigantic book. It legitimately weighs like 6 or 8 pounds.
Is that it? Because I feel like it must weigh like
I'm guessing, but it might be around 10. I'm just really strong, so it's hard to tell.
I don't recognize my own strength because I'm just so strong. Yeah.
Speaking of which, would you like a tiny donut?
Mine's too far away. I can't reach it. If I can reach it, I could pull up my own 20 donut.
Oh, that was fun. Guys, check us out on all the social medias that still exist in the United States. I don't know. By the time you hear this, I just don't know which ones those will be. But for now, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Cromulent Show.
We'll be on some of them. I mean, at the very least,
YouTube and Instagram aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, YouTube and Instagram aren't going anywhere. So at the very least, YouTube and Instagram. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we make one of those. There's another social media site that's really, really old. I was like, maybe we could stick some stuff on there. I don't know.
You guys want to check out my Zanga, or you guys seen my live journal recently? It's
we got a blog over on that blogging site. You know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's cromulentShow.blogspot.com. Oh man, I used to have a blog spot.
Oh God.
Good stuff. Well, This is a fun episode. Every episode's gonna be fun. It's just how it is. It's The Simpsons. That's what we're doing.
It's even more fun when you talk about it with your friends.
That's exactly right. And thank you to all of you guys for listening to it with us. You're all our friends now, whether you like it or not. You're kind of in this thing, so
you're friends
congratulations. Now. Don't get it off your phone because you'll wake up tomorrow and we'll somehow magically be back there. Don't ask how it works. We just make it happen. Okay.
And if this is your first time over here, make sure you like and subscribe and follow and all those things, and make comments.
Rate and review on Spotify and Apple. I'm only told this. I don't know for sure. I just have heard that is a very helpful way to get our show seen by other like-minded individuals who would like to hear some Simpsons content.
Yes. And don't forget to, if you're just commenting on YouTube and stuff, and facts that we didn't mention or fun little things about the episode, make sure you tell us, because we want to learn from you guys too. Obviously,
or correct us where we're wrong. Just don't be an ass.
Yeah, be nice about it, because we're not infallible. We're
we're sensitive.
We're very sensitive, so be nice. But yeah, drop your knowledge on us as well, because we can't. Obviously we're going to pick out things that we know or that we like or that we notice, but you might know something else or like something else or have noticed something else, like a background character that's in every scene of some episode that we totally skipped over, but it's actually really funny that they are in every scene. Because I know there are some Simpsons episodes like that too, like where there's one nondescript character that's in the background of every single scene.
I'm sure they've run plenty of things by us that no one has noticed yet.
Right? So if you notice something weird like that, make sure you tell us, so that, maybe in the future when we're doing something where we're talking about some weird thing about The Simpsons or whatever, maybe we can include that in our talk and be like, hey, somebody noticed that this weird thing happens in this episode, So drop your knowledge on us.
Well, that's pretty good, man. Anything else?
That's it. Everybody have good weeks.
Okay, bye.